Were you arguing for it? College is a scam?
Yes.
Okay, so first, could you start? Why do you think that way? Like,
Well,
what led to that?
Why say that?
Why do you think college is a scam? Like, what?
Do you think that you take any classes here that are a waste of your time?
Not a waste of my time because I'm still gaining something from it.
Okay, I think if you were to ask, do you guys, all of you guys here, do you think that you have to take a class in college that's a waste of your time? Raise your hand if that's, yeah.
Is college a scam? Well, apparently going 6 figures into debt for mandatory classes you'll never use is just called finding yourself now. Turning Point USA's Witt goes head-to-head with a college student who's defending the system, and Will starts ripping apart the excuses one by one. Is college a scam? This debate gets brutal fast. Subscribe for daily uploads because the campus cope never ends here on America Only.
Were you arguing for it? College is a scam?
Yes.
Okay, so first, could you start? Why do you think that way? Like,
Well,
what led to that?
Why say that?
Why do you think college is a scam? Like, what?
Do you think that you take any classes here that are a waste of your time?
Not a waste of my time because I'm still gaining something from it.
Okay, I think if you were to ask, do you guys, all of you guys here, do you think that you have to take a class in college that's a waste of your time? Raise your hand if that's, yeah. I mean, it's, you go to college and you have to take these classes. You got diversity classes, equity classes, social justice, gender studies classes, all these kind of things that you're basically forced to take when you could be not going to college and getting a job in some sort of trade with a 6-week class, and you're making more than the majority of college graduates are right now. There are certain degrees I will get it for you. Doctor, some sorts of engineers, stuff like that you go to college and you got to go to college for, and that's fair, and I agree with you. But the majority of people, the fact that only 59% of people who go to college actually graduate, should show you right there that it's not actually doing the things that it's supposed to do.
Okay, but what are you looking at college as more than just financial gain, or are you? Because you have to look at college as like a community. It's more than just guaranteed.
Dude, of course college is for financial gain. Back when you were making finger paints in your urban kindergarten class, you were told, hey, make sure you graduate high school, go to college, you'll make more money, you'll have a good career. And you lefties are so against Epstein. Well, who do you think owns the textbooks? I'll give you a hint. It was one of his madams.
You a job, and it doesn't guarantee you a job with more money. Right. That's true.
It definitely doesn't. Yeah.
It opens you up to a lot of new people, and I think it's an experience that a lot of young Americans can take something from. I don't think we're around enough people in our daily life, and oftentimes we stay within our own bubbles. It's like an echo chamber of our own ideas, and I think it's good to be exposed to different points of view. So
I totally agree with you, but colleges don't do that anymore. The colleges are not places where ideas flourish, free speech flourishes, civil discourse, all of these kind of things. They turn into places where they cancel speech, they cancel speakers. It's a one-size-fit-all. Now, obviously, this isn't every college, and you got Cal Poly Pomona allowing me to be here and do this, so I applaud them for doing that. But for the most part, you have these colleges that are banning speech on their campuses. They have safe spaces, things like that, days of mourning after elections. I mean, these are not serious places for intellectual thought.
What speech was banned? Can you give me an example?
I was banned from a school.
You were banned?
Yeah.
Really?
I was canceled at Belmont University.
Okay.
Because they said my ideas were too controversial.
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember Berkeley, the whole Weinstein thing when he showed up on a People of Color Day? He wasn't supposed to come to class because they didn't want any whites on campus. Yeah, people are getting canceled on college campuses, dude.
That's not right. And this has happened to all sorts of conservative speakers. Events canceled, all sorts of things. I've had administrators come and kick me off campus for just being here, especially even when it's a public campus. You pay taxes for this campus and they come and kick you off. That is wrong. Everyone should be able to have a voice on a college campus. That is the point of an education, a true liberal arts education where all ideas are questioned, debated, and open. But unfortunately, it's just not like that on college campuses anymore. The institutions are failing for that.
But then you're not saying all colleges are a scam, right?
No, I work for a college.
Okay.
I work for, I'm associate vice president in New College of Florida, but we've totally revamped and transformed that college from something that was a completely dogmatic, far left place where even if you weren't communist enough, you were basically bullied off of campus. Now we've turned it into a bastion of free speech, unlike really any other school in the country.
But then I guess you can't say it's a scam then, because if there are schools that are allowing free speech, would you say that's fair?
If colleges, if education returned.
Yeah, dude, is a casino charity? Of course colleges are scams. Look at the price of textbooks, man. You are getting ripped off. And I am a college graduate. Totally got screwed. I don't recommend anybody to go to college.
To its mission of what it's supposed to be. of actually educating the youth. Because think about, I mean, all you guys here listening, how many people here, maybe you won't admit it, how many people here are just going through college to get that piece of paper? You know, so many people are just going through. You know, they don't actually care about the learning and all that. They just want the piece of paper. The college education does not prepare you for the real world and the job that you're going to have. You know, there are some of them that do. Granted, all right? You know, we're talking about one size fits all. But the majority, you know, majority of people are majoring in liberal arts and those kind of things. Okay. And they're not actually using those skills. You know, I was a college dropout. I went to CU Boulder, dropped out, and, you know, I've been able to do all of these things just by reading and getting information and practicing, talking to people. I didn't need a college degree for that. You know?
No, I understand. But where does the scam come in? Because, like, if I were to buy a car for, let's say, $20,000 and it said they had 200,000 miles on it and the car has 300, that's a scam. A scam is when you're expecting something and you're not getting that.
Yeah, you're paying like over 50 grand in tuition for a 4-year university and you're not making that money back ever. You're actually owing more than what you did at the beginning. That's what I think about when I see homeless people and, you know, they try to give me their sob story. It's like, dude, I'm literally poorer than you are. Like, I mean, I'm playing the game. I'm not doing meth all day, you know? There's just certain choices that we make.
So I guess what are...
That's exactly. I mean, you're kind of answering the question.
What are you expecting from college that you're not getting that makes it a scam?
An education.
You don't think you're getting an education in college?
No, I do not. No, I think the majority of students are getting indoctrinated, and I think that they leave college and they end up hating America and hating the values that made this country and don't actually come out of college as citizens who learn something that's going to help them in the real world. Yeah, I think college has lost its way. Again, there are colleges that do good things, and people's experiences are different. Your experience might be different, but on the whole, on the majority, people are not getting that education. And this is all part of the plan. This isn't you and me.
Getting educated, like, in colleges in general, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so where do you draw the line at indoctrination and education? Like,
education is where people are allowed to debate the ideas. Mm-hmm. If you go into a classroom and they say you're not allowed to talk about, like when I was in college, right? An example. They said you can get extra credit if you go to a political speech and write a paper on it. I said, oh, great. So I went to a conservative speech and I wrote a paper on it, and she said, oh, this isn't accepted. We can't do this. There's a Native American march happening next week. You can write about that, but you can't write about this. That is indoctrination. If it is only one side that's able to be heard, then it's not an education. Now, if you were to come to Cal Poly Pomona, and I don't know your campus completely well, but if you're like, all these sides can be represented and I get to feel totally free to say what I want in my class, then that is, you know, a traditional education. That's right.
Exactly, Will. I went to a liberal-dominated college as well, and I went during the pandemic and the George Floyd uprising. During all the Black Lives Matter bullshit. And I questioned my professors on all this stuff. Like, I looked into these people. I looked into Patrice Concolors and all those communist scam artists. And they didn't have answers for me. And luckily they didn't take it out on me. I mean, I knew more than they did about certain things. But yeah, they will look at you differently. Your whole class will look at you differently. You know, they'll throw that term conspiracy theorist at you just for knowing more shit than them, dude. This is the world that we live in. And to me, that is very scammy, you know. I don't know what your definition of scam is, broccoli head, but yeah, it's definitely a scam.
So then what do you think? Do you think we have traditional education here?
I mean, I don't know Cal Poly Pomona enough, but a California state school, I can imagine probably not. You know, the fact that the Turning Point, I mean, we can ask the Turning Point kids, they'd know better than I would on that, but the colleges are failing. But it's a scam in the sense that you are paying all this money, right? Mm-hmm. All this money. And that if let's say you get grants or you get scholarships or something, that means that now I'm, as a taxpayer, subsidizing your education, which I think is wrong, because also only about half of people actually graduate from college. So we're subsidizing educations for people who don't even graduate from college. And with that, the government is involved in the student loan business, which makes it so that you can't actually file bankruptcy on the loan.
Yeah.
Which is all part of the plan, right? To keep people dependent. And then the price of college has gone up 1,000% past inflation. You know, and to me, that's wrong. And they tell everyone, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. When there are 11 million job openings.
You can see the cogs turning in his head.
for, you know, basically trades in this country that people can do and make more money than most college graduates actually getting out of college.
Well, I do think that's a problem with the way that we push kids. Like, there's no other choice but to go to college.
Yeah.
But I don't think that in of itself is a fail of the, like, I don't think the college system is failing there. Because I think if you do your research, you do know what you're getting into. You know the schools. Like, it's not like I blindly chose this school. I went in, I got to talk to people and make my decision. So I think if you're educated enough to make your decision, you should know what you're getting into. And if you look at your options right, it's not a scam because in the sense, I got to choose to be here, you know, and I know what I was getting into. And I haven't like been stopped from free speech or anything. I mean, you see.
That's great. That's amazing, man. You know, and I applaud that. But I can tell.
All right, we just watched Will Witt completely, I don't know, mesmerize this kid. He completely changed his mind on the topic of college being a scam. I mean, it is a scam. You're signing up for something that you'll make less money doing in the hopes of making more money. I don't know. I mean, maybe join a nice pyramid scheme or something. Well, if you like videos like this, we are dropping videos every single day. Debates, conversations, yada yada. Make sure you tune in next time, okay? Thank you for watching. This has been America Only.